Watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Unman Bhattacharya. Coming up in the next 30 minutes. Terrorists do not terrorize India anymore. Prime Minister Narendra Modi at the Hindustan Times Leadership Summit in New Delhi. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to embark on a three-nation visit to Nigeria, Brazil and Guyana. US President Joe Biden and Chinese President Xi Jinping to meet in Lima on the sidelines of the APEC summit. And in cricket, India registers its biggest ever win against South Africa. Win the fourth T20 International by 135 runs, clinch series 3-1. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi attended the Hindustan Times Leadership Summit in New Delhi. There he released a commemorative stamp to celebrate 100 years of Hindustan Times as part of the HT Summit exhibition. Prime Minister Modi saw pictures of the 26/11 Mumbai terror attacks and said there was a time when the people felt unsafe in their house and cities due to the terrors sponsored by the neighboring countries. The Prime Minister highlighted that how the times have changed now and terrorists in their own houses don't feel safe. Speaking at the summit, Prime Minister Modi further said that our aim is to create a new India.
हमारी सरकार का पर्पज, उसका उद्देश्य बड़ा है, विराट है, व्यापक है। हम प्रोग्रेस ऑफ द पीपल, प्रोग्रेस बाय द पीपल, प्रोग्रेस फॉर द पीपल के मंत्र को लेकर चल रहे हैं। हमारा उद्देश्य नया भारत बनाने का है, भारत को विकसित बनाने का है। और जब हम इस विराट लक्ष्य को लेकर निकल पड़े हैं, तो भारत की जनता ने भी हमें अपने विश्वास की पूंजी सौंपी है।
PM Modi further added that investment should generate employment.
इन्वेस्टमेंट हो, इन्वेस्टमेंट से एम्प्लॉयमेंट जनरेट हो, डेवलपमेंट हो और वो डेवलपमेंट भारत के नागरिकों की डिग्निटी बढ़ाए, डिग्निटी सुनिश्चित करें।
India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be embarking on a 5-day visit to Nigeria, Brazil and Guyana today. At the invitation of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, this will be the first visit to Nigeria of Prime Minister Narendra Modi, which is India's close partner in the West African region. And in his departure statement, Prime Minister said that his visit will be an opportunity to build upon strategic partnership that is based on shared belief in democracy and pluralism. PM said he was eagerly looking forward to meeting the Indian community and friends from Nigeria who have sent him warm welcome messages in Hindi. In Brazil, the Prime Minister will attend the 19th G20 summit. PM Modi is also visiting Guyana at the invitation of President Mohammad Irfan Ali. This will be the first ever visit of an Indian Prime Minister in over 50 years to Guyana. During this visit, the Prime Minister will also join leaders from the Caribbean partner countries for the second India CARICOM summit. In the first leg of his visit, Prime Minister Narendra Modi is visiting Nigeria from 16th to 17th November. Prime Minister Modi is visiting the West African nation on the invitation of the Nigerian President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. DD India correspondent Vishal Baristo reports from Abuja.
Billboards and the LEDs on the roads of Abuja glitter with a welcome message for Prime Minister Narendra Modi. The two countries have a long-standing relationship that spans over 6 decades. But this visit is quite significant as it would be followed by the G20 summit in Brazil later this month. On the initiative of India, Nigeria was invited as a guest country for the first time on the G20 platform in Delhi.
When we had taken over the presidency of G20, our Prime Minister had invited Nigeria as a guest country. Given the very strong relationship that we have with them since 1958, we actually started our relationship with Nigeria 2 years before their independence. So that is the importance that we have been giving them, which has been, and the relationship has been nurtured very well. When we had invited them for G20, it was the first time that Nigeria came onto that platform, and they are very happy and they are very thankful to India for giving them this platform.
During the two-day visit, Prime Minister will have a one-on-one meeting with the Nigerian President at the President Villa. MOUs in the field of culture, digital economy and survey are expected to be inked during this visit. A community reception is also planned at Abuja with the Indian diaspora.
Nigeria has a very strong Indian community presence, and people from every state will be joining the community reception. There is jubilation among Indian community, and they are coming from Lagos, Kano, Kaduna, everywhere, every part of Nigeria. They will be coming on 17th to listen to the Indian Prime Minister.
Abuja is all decked up for the welcome of Prime Minister Narendra Modi, as you can see on this road that connects Hotel Hilton to the President Villa. With $27 billion investment, 200 Indian companies are the second biggest employer in Nigeria after the federal government. Indian companies dominate the economy of Nigeria. From pharma to two-wheelers, they are a big source of employment for the Nigerians.
We are an Indian group which is employing more than 1,500 Nigerians. And as you might know, the Indian companies in Nigeria are the second largest employer of labor.
Working with Simba Group and Mr. Grover has been excellent. My working with Simba Group for over 5 years, I've gained experience not only in renewable energy, also bicycles. It has helped me, it has impacted me in my career.
With this visit of Prime Minister Narendra Modi, both nations expect to strengthen bilateral trade and work closely on people-to-people contact. India established its diplomatic mission in Lagos in 1958, 2 years before Nigeria's independence. Vishal Baristo's report for DD India.
And DD India correspondent Vishal Baristo now joins us live from Abuja. Vishal, could you further break down for us expectations from Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit to Nigeria? It's the first time in 17 years that an Indian Prime Minister is visiting Nigeria. Also, if you could tell us a little about his engagements there.
Very good morning to you, Munmun from Abuja. Now, this is the first visit of Prime Minister Narendra Modi in the last 17 years. In fact, the first visit by any Prime Minister. And Abuja is now the capital of the West African nation. In fact, India established the relations with the West African nation before it attained independence. 2 years before, in Lagos, it established its consulate there. Today, Prime Minister's visit is seen with a lot of enthusiasm. I'm here reporting from the Hotel Hilton, where the Prime Minister would be received, and tomorrow we would also be having a gathering with the Indian diaspora. So tomorrow the Prime Minister would also have a tete-a-tete with the President of Nigeria, on whose invitation the Prime Minister is here. And we are also expecting some of the MOUs, like I mentioned in my report, in the digital economy, in culture, in survey. And also we are hoping that some kind of agreement would also come up in the defense production, because the Indian companies, especially the MSMEs and the startups, they had their show here in Abuja, and we are expecting that the defense cooperation between the two countries grows stronger, because India is now exporting defense products to 100 nations. So it is a very good opportunity, and it's long awaited. 17 years Nigeria has been expecting the Prime Minister. Last time it was 2007, and now it is Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Munmun?
Yes, Vishal, also the Prime Minister in his departure statement has referred to how he's been receiving warm welcome messages in Hindi from the Indian diaspora there particularly. Tell us about how excited the Indian community is before the Prime Minister's arrival.
Well, Munmun, as you have also been traveling around the world, the Indian diaspora has always been very good ambassadors of the country. And here in Nigeria, they are very strong, standing at 50,000 number. So, and also Indian companies, they are the second largest employer of the Nigerians after the federal government. So 50,000 people, especially from Abuja, from Lagos, they are coming from all over. And let me also tell you that there is a club called Doordarshan Club. It's a Nigerian club and they are all Hindi speaking people, and they get their education in Hindi from, that is arranged by the High Commission, Indian High Commission in Nigeria. And they have also tweeted a video message welcoming Prime Minister Narendra Modi in Hindi that has been retweeted by the Prime Minister. So it's people-to-people contact is very strong here. The Indian community is very strong here, and they are coming from all over. Let me tell you that Abuja is only the administrative city, but the larger part of the Indian community resides in Lagos, which was the older capital of Nigeria. So there's a lot of excitement here, and here at the Hotel Hilton, which is just behind me, there is a community reception tomorrow that has been planned at the Congress Hall. So we are all expecting that the people would get to see their Prime Minister. They have been waiting to see him. I have been speaking to some of them, and they are so very excited. They are ready with their tricolors, they are ready with their placards, and they are all very excited to receive the Prime Minister, and they are very proud of the Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi, who has taken India to the top 5 economies of the world, and we are all expecting that India would soon be there in the top 3 bracket. Munmun?
Yes, Vishal. Also, if you could tell us about expectations in terms of the various sectors of cooperation, because development assistance is one such area. I believe that India and Nigeria have decided that a lot of it, in terms of many millions of dollars, would be now repurposed to meet some of the priorities that Nigeria has set for itself. So if you could tell us more about the various areas of gamut of cooperation and how this visit is expected to give a boost across sectors of cooperation.
Well, certainly, Munmun, let me give you a breakup when we talk about the pharma industry. India is the pharmacy of the world, and here in Nigeria, it controls the 70% market. Indian companies are have already invested $27 billion US, and it is not only pharma industry but also the IT industry, which is coming up very strongly. And also the creative industry. Let me tell you that Bollywood produces the largest film in the world, largest number of film in the world, and it is closely followed by Nollywood, which is the Nigerian version of filmmaking, and they are second in the world in producing films. In fact, a lot of ventures, there have been 2 joint ventures between the two, and the postcard series was shot completely in Mumbai. And so these, especially this part, both the countries are looking very closely, because Nigeria is taking a lot of help from the Indian expertise as far as film production is concerned. The IT sector is there, the pharma industry is there, and all the FMCGs, they are all very strong here in Nigeria. In fact, the 2-wheelers and the 3-wheeler industry of India is very popular here in Nigeria. But there are also other sectors that India needs to get its hold here, especially the digital economy, and that is being talked about here. Because if you come to Nigeria, then there are certain issues with the digital economy, and the world has seen how India has taken this opportunity of the pandemic, creating its digital economy that is very, very popular across the world. So Nigeria also wants to gain something out of it, and also wants to create its own digital economy. So these are the sectors that both the countries are looking at: creative industry, the digital economy, the pharma industry, pharma sector, which India is already very strong, and the IT sector, which Nigeria is very keen upon, because India has a very strong presence as far as the IT sector is concerned in Nigeria. Munmun?
We'll leave it at that. Vishal Baristo reporting from Abuja, the capital of Nigeria. Moving on to other news, the Speaker of the lower house of Indian Parliament, or Lok Sabha, Om Birla, inaugurated the 4th Audit Diwas celebrations, and the Those celebrations were by the Office of the Comptroller and Auditor General of India on Saturday in New Delhi. Lok Sabha Speaker Om Birla expressed confidence that India's CAG will become the guide of the world in the coming times, and other countries of the world will adopt India's audit system. This year's celebration marks a crucial milestone in the journey towards enhancing transparency and accountability in governance.
दुनिया के देश हमारी इस लेखा परीक्षा का अध्ययन करने आते हैं, सीखने आते हैं और प्रयास करते हैं कि हम भारत की लेखा परीक्षा को अपने आप अपनाएं। और इसीलिए हमारी संस्था प्राइड के अंदर भी समय समय पर जब लोकसभा के कई मान्य सदस्य अधिकारी आते हैं, लेकिन उसके साथ साथ वहाँ वो भारत की सीएजी ऑडिट प्रणाली का प्रशिक्षण प्राप्त करने और सीखने के लिए भी कम से कम 50 देश के अधिकारी कर्मचारी समय समय पर भारत में आते हैं।
Time for a breather on DD India Live, still to come on this edition. Lebanese government is reviewing a US truce proposal in the Israel-Hezbollah conflict. Germany's Olaf Scholz urges President Putin of Russia to open talks with Ukraine. And a large, bright supermoon lights up the skies in different parts of the world.
Geopolitics and trade deals. Economic challenges amid development. Hard work and the path to prosperity. It's the economy always. Between walkers, money is what money does and says. Supply creates its own demand. Between the bulls pulls and bears tears. When supply chains globalization and India rises to the podium. We'll get you centered with the economic brief at 8 p.m. every Thursday on DD India.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India Live with me, Munmun Bhattacharya. US President Joe Biden will meet Chinese President Xi Jinping on the sidelines of the APEC summit in Peru's capital, Lima. This will be the third in-person meeting between the two leaders who met earlier in Indonesia's Bali at the G20 summit in 2022 and again in California during the APEC summit in 2023. The meeting is expected to be the last meeting between the two top leaders of the two major economies. The two leaders are expected to review the bilateral relations between the two nations during the meeting. US President met with leaders of Japan and South Korea on Friday, aiming to solidify diplomatic progress ahead of the upcoming Trump administration. The meeting was held on the sidelines of the Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation Summit in Lima, Peru. Discussions focused on regional challenges, including rising tensions with North Korea, which has deployed troops to Russia in support of its conflict in Ukraine and the nation's ongoing nuclear weapons program.
We've now reached the moment of significant political change, and I congratulate the Prime Minister for his taking office, and this is likely to be my last trilateral meeting with this important group, but I'm proud to have helped be one of the parts of building this partnership. I truly believe cooperation of our countries will be the foundation to peace and stability in the Indo-Pacific for many years to come if we stay together.
In order to effectively respond to international challenges of intensifying complexity, our trilateral partnership has become more important than ever. I look forward to furthering our partnership in response against North Korea and in many other areas.
Since the Camp David Leaders Summit last year, led by President Biden, Our trilateral cooperation has become and is becoming stronger every day. The trilateral cooperation now goes beyond the security as it has developed into comprehensive and institutional cooperation that encompasses economy, advanced technologies such as AI and quantum technology, as well as exchange between future generations.
U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken said the U.S. counts on partnerships in the Asia-Pacific. Speaking at the APEC summit in Lima on Friday, Blinken highlighted the U.S. trilateral cooperation with Japan and South Korea, as well as the deepened ties with India, Japan, Australia and ASEAN.
Here in the Asia-Pacific, we bolstered trilateral cooperation with Japan and Korea. We deepened ties with the Quad, India, Japan and Australia, and ASEAN. We've elevated our relationships with Vietnam and Indonesia. We launched the Indo-Pacific Economic Framework, bringing together 14 countries, some 40% of the world's GDP, to build more secure supply chains, to combat corruption, to transition to clean energy. We stepped up our engagement with APEC, including welcoming many of you to San Francisco last year, where we secured important new commitments toward creating a more resilient and sustainable future for all of us, like strengthening our food systems, increasing women's economic participation.
Meanwhile, on the sidelines of the APEC forum, China's President Xi Jinping met fellow Asian leaders, including Japanese Prime Minister Shigeru Ishiba on Friday. Reportedly, Xi told Ishiba in their first meeting that China hoped Japan would properly handle quote-unquote major issues such as history and Taiwan, whereas Ishiba, who took office only in October, told Xi that Japan wanted to build a quote-unquote constructive and stable relationship, but expressed concerns about Chinese maritime activities. China's Xi Jinping, US President Joe Biden and other world leaders gathered on Friday night at Peru's National Palace for a dinner to close the 31st Asia-Pacific Economic Coordination Summit in Lima. Representatives of the APEC economies were welcomed with a folkloric performance in the patio of the National Palace after the first meeting, as Donald Trump's return loomed over. Bilateral and trilateral meetings took place throughout the day on the sidelines of the summit. Earlier, South Korean President Yoon Suk-yeol addressed the parallel APEC CEO summit and acknowledged the challenges that await in next year's summit, which will be hosted in South Korea. The summit will close on Saturday with the last leaders meeting and a family photograph. On to updates from West Asia now. A series of heavy Israeli airstrikes struck the southern suburbs of Beirut on Friday for the fourth consecutive day as Lebanese officials studied a U.S. plan for a ceasefire. The Lebanese government is reviewing a U.S. truce proposal in the Israel-Hezbollah conflict nearly 2 months since cross-border clashes escalated. Ceasefire efforts spearheaded by the United States and France have so far failed to halt the hostilities between Israel and Hezbollah. U.S. Ambassador Lisa Johnson discussed a 13-point proposal with senior Lebanese officials on Thursday. Israel has yet to respond to the plan. If an agreement is reached, Washington and Paris would issue a joint statement, followed by a 60-day truce, during which Lebanon will redeploy troops in the southern border area near Israel. Meanwhile, Iran has expressed support for any decision made by Lebanon to secure a ceasefire with Israel. Ali Larijani, a senior advisor to Iran's Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, met Lebanese officials in Beirut on Friday, the third high-profile Iranian solidarity visit since the Israel-Hezbollah conflict began in September. Speaking to media after meeting Lebanese PM and Parliament Speaker, Ali Larijani said Tehran wants to see an end to a conflict. He said Iran supports the Lebanese nation under any circumstances. German Chancellor Olaf Scholz initiated a phone call with Russian President Vladimir Putin on Friday, which reportedly lasted about an hour and revolved around different aspects of the Russia-Ukraine conflict. Scholz urged Putin to pull his forces out of Ukraine and begin talks with Kyiv in their first phone call in nearly 2 years. The Kremlin confirmed the conversation. It said Putin had told Scholz any agreement to end the Russia-Ukraine conflict must take Russian security interests into account and reflect new territorial realities. The German Chancellor urged Russia to show willingness to enter talks with the aim of achieving a just and lasting peace. Meanwhile, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said Scholz's call with Putin would open what he called a quote-unquote Pandora's box by undermining efforts to isolate the Russian leader.
Chancellor Scholz told me that he was going to call Putin. Olaf's call, in my opinion, is Pandora box. Now there may be other conversations, other calls, just a lot of words. And this is exactly what Putin has long wanted. It is extremely important for him to weaken his isolation of Russia, and conduct talks as ordinary talks which won't have any result, the way he did it for decades.
Further, Zelensky said the Russia-Ukraine conflict will end sooner than it otherwise would have done once Donald Trump becomes US president next year. He added that he had a constructive exchange with Trump during their telephone conversation after his victory in the US presidential election. Speaking at his Mar-a-Lago resort in Palm Beach in Florida, Trump said, "We are going to work very hard on Russia and Ukraine, and it's got to stop." Let's now take a look at some other stories making news around the world. The Independent Commission Against Corruption has opened a new cafe, 1974, at its North Point headquarters in Hong Kong. The cafe, named after ICAC's founding year, offers its famous coffee to the public starting tomorrow. Visitors can also explore booths showcasing memorabilia from ICAC's 5 decades of anti-corruption efforts. Bangkok's Suvarnabhumi Airport has been recognized by UNESCO as one of the world's 6 most beautiful airports. Its Sat-1 terminal, blending a modern design with Thai cultural elements, is nominated for Prix Versailles Award for Best Airport Architecture. Scientists have discovered the world's largest coral, which can be seen from space in the Pacific Ocean near the Solomon Islands. The mega coral is 3 times larger than the previous record holder and is believed to be around 300 years old. Sports news now. Sanju Samson and Tilak Verma starred with their centuries in a record partnership as India defeated South Africa by 135 runs in the 4th and final T20 international at Johannesburg on Friday. With the win, India has sealed the series 3-1. Visiting captain Suryakumar Yadav won the toss and opted to bat first against the Proteas, where India's innings was all about Tilak and Samson. 22-year-old Tilak Verma slammed 120 not out of 47 balls, while Sanju Samson scored 109 not out of 56 balls. They also put a record second wicket partnership of 210 runs off 86 balls. Samson became the first ever batter in T20 international cricket to slam 3 centuries in a calendar year. The innings saw several other records also being made. In the chase of a mammoth 284, the Proteas were bundled out for 148 in 18.2 overs thanks to Harshdeep Singh's 3 for 20. Another setback for Pakistan. The International Cricket Council has cancelled the planned trophy tour of the 2025 ICC Champions Trophy in Skardu, Murree and Muzaffarabad areas that fall within Pakistan-occupied Kashmir. The decision came shortly after the Pakistan Cricket Board announced the inclusion of these cities in the tour itinerary, which drew immediate objections from the Board of Control for Cricket in India, or BCCI. Notably, the PCB had announced a nationwide trophy tour of the Champions Trophy from November 16th to 24 ahead of the cricketing event. A large, bright supermoon lit up the skies in different parts of the world on Friday. Time-lapse videos show radiant full moon illuminating the skies over Cairo and the Arabian Gulf. Known as the Beaver Moon, this November full moon will remain visible for about 3 days. That's it then in this edition of DD India Live, but do share your thoughts with us on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on the DD India mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS platforms. You can scan the QR code on the screen to download now. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. This is Munmun Bhattacharya from all of us here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India Live. Namaskar.